they've seen other children and other people. And if you look very carefully, ladies and gentlemen, here I am with the lady of the house. There's her dress, her legs, there's me, and I'm shooting a picture through my filter of the image in the mirror, okay? That's to orientate you around this. And if you look very carefully, here there's this mahogany table, thick-set mahogany table, with a silver candelabra. Okay, can you clearly see that? Here, remember the youth had ruffs on his sleeves, because it was 17th century, we found out this haunting was coming from another time and another place. And here, the ruff on the sleeve, okay, with the hand coming out the mirror that often came out and touched people on the settee if they were sitting watching the television. All that antique stuff in the room does not exist now. It's from the past, when that old Tudor building had belonged to a family of 3 generations wiped out, grandparents, parents and children of the Black Death in the 1600s. 1665 or 1666. I always get the Black Death and the Fire of London muddled up. Anyway, you historians out there will sort it out, I'm sure. And basically, the whole 3 generations were trapped. As far as they were concerned, it was their house still. And the modern people were the invaders. And when I was coming with my this sort of devilish device for camera, they saw this Cyclops character coming towards them, and they were lashing out. You know, the children were being mischievous by touching what they thought were ghosts from their time, which were the modern people and the modern children. Yeah. And speaking of family groups of children and families, you know, you wouldn't expect to see discarnate entities in family group pictures, would you? Well, here we're doing a family group picture in Iceland of an energy of a family, collective energy, and they are past members that come in, and that was identified as a past female member of that family by the older family members, with the shape of the energy and the face and everything. And that is the eyes, the hairdo, the mouth line, the chin, the clothing is even spiritual. Yeah, people say, well, why aren't you photographing ghosts as they should be, completely naked? And you know what my answer was to these people, skeptics? I said, don't you think God can afford clothes for them? Actually, it wasn't original. Joan of Arc said that to the British inquisitors and of the church when she was being questioned about her voices and her angels. They were clothed, okay? By the way, this grey suit I particularly disturbed the Americans with, because they say, why are you British so drab and formal? I said, well, you're joking, I knew I was coming to America. Check out the lining. In particular with golfers, it gets up their nose. I love it. Anyway, to plough on through the fairway, I was invited in America to this healing sanctuary with my camera and filter. These filters are available to anybody now who wants them, by the way. I want this research to be duplicated all over the world. It's a window to these other dimensions. And here, my filter in front of the camera, and the healer said to me, well, my spirit guides have invited you, Harry, to come and watch me heal, and they're going to make an appearance, and it'll be in the picture. So I said, what's in it for me? She said, oh, it'll be a nice brunch, and you know, anything you want to drink, and beers, and yeah, on, I said, you know, I don't come cheap. I asked the organisers here. Oh, I hope you're going to buy me a beer later. But anyway, I took this picture and saw what looks like this, can you see this young figure here in a white habit, a young man profile, long chin with red hair. And before I showed her the picture, I said, describe to me what your spirit guides look like in your healing work. Oh, she said, well, I have a young novice nun that died on the wagon train over here in the 1900s, and also a young boy killed by frontier Indians, and he's got flaming red hair. She described these 2 figures to a T. She hadn't seen the picture. Thank you. And we can see some other wonderful things with our filters. This standing, beautiful, cascading rainbow of light that seems to be coming from the direction of this adoring, glamorous grandmother to her grandchild was photographed by me with the lovely Evely there and her lovely grandchild. And it was absolutely fantastic. I've never been able to reproduce it. That's unfortunate with certain phenomena. There was that right moment of capture, and it was just right. There is something called the light of love. I truly believe that now. That was all done without flash, sir, most indefinitely. Because, not that you can't take flash photography with my filters, but people say, well, it's bounced around and there's reflection in the lenses, you know. One has one's critical skeptics, that's quite right. They keep me in check somehow, you know. Not very well, I'm pleased to say. I'm no orthodox scientist, by the way. I'm too fringe, I'm too out on the limb. And that's how I liked it, because that's how I climbed trees as a youngster. And I've stuck up to the same system ever since. Next, please. Yes, 5 minutes. Oh, the evening's just gone by. Okay, I'll try. Can we skip the vortices and go straight to the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull? I know it'd be the right subject. Vortices and haunted rooms, Bosnian pyramids with flying saucers going in and out of the shot, and next is Pyramid of the Sun. Research in the USA, I'll go quickly through. Here I am, and the night before I was in the spirit with this young man here who held up with the Jack Daniels better than I did. Here at the Monroe Institute we have the Faraday cage where I did all these experiments, operating, looking at a contact with the other side in the Faraday cage. That was without anybody. That's with the medium, Dr. Daly in this case, and there's a vortex that opened up with a face. This Dr. Daly identified as his discarnate passed-on brother, now in spirit, and he always had a signature of putting his head to the side. And of course, it was in a Faraday cage, so there was nothing could have come in from outside or anything. The Jefferson Institute, where a slave was said to have been hung from a tree using my filter, and there we have the most beautiful colour orb. Gettysburg, okay, where I went hunting for the glorious dead, especially for men of the South. Men of Robert E. Lee's during Gettysburg. Do you know that Great Britain supported the South in the Great Civil War? They also gave arms to the North as well. But, you know, you've got to hedge your bets, haven't you? But here we have, just like the Gulf War now, and anywhere else I can think of. I do hate war, by the way. But here we have a soldier with a proper battlefield Southern-style hat, loading what looks like a musket. Here's an arm, here fingers on a musket, and a kind of tunic with a scarf. And later on, I didn't get it on film, but he pointed this rifle at me through the camera, but when I captured it, it was nothing on the film, but that's just an image of him on the battlefield, still fighting what he thinks are Yankees. I'm so surprised I got, you know, mistaken for a Yankee, I can tell you. Anyway, here we have some Union soldier ghosts, which I photographed, and there's the hat and everything. Only half manifest. Below the post there, you won't see any legs. Sometimes they only have energy to manifest part of a body. You can see a foot in a haunted spot, a hand will suddenly appear. Doesn't mean they're just, you know, they've only got hands. It only means they've had the energy into this world to manifest parts. And, oh yeah, I seem to attract the attention of UFO flying vehicles whenever I'm doing a lot of this work. And they're flying in the sky there during this video. I hope they're learning a lot anyway. There they are. There's it's completely blue sky, nothing there to be seen, but what my PIP system does is able to see phase changes in light, and things that are cloaked and invisible can become visible. Okay, thank you, Evie. And here we have a haunted church in Rochester, New York, figure on the stairs in an envelope of light and some orbs there. Okay, there's the lovely Evie next to the haunted piano. I wasn't going to go near a haunted piano where things are said to happen, so send the girl in is my advice, the gentleman, you know, send the younger person in to take the shot. And then I took the shot and she started to disappear in the shot. In fact, here is Dr. Claude Swanson, one of America's top physicists who befriended me, and I befriended him. We've swapped real way out theories on physics, by the way. You know, you lot are really not here, quantum physical wave formations and things. Okay. But anyway, as you can see, with the Oldfield filter, the good doctor's not there either. He's lost his head.